we are going to talk about different sampling methods for a statistical study. So the first sampling method here is known as a random sample. And so if you have a population and you're going to do a random sample, you're just going to, it's like pulling a name out of a hat. You're just going to randomly go in there. Everybody in this group has an equal chance of being chosen, and they're chosen at random. Now, if you're going to look at what's called a systematic sample, this is one where you're going to go in and you're going to say, I'm going to choose, in this case, the picture they shown, every 10th bottle coming down the conveyor belt. Or if you were doing people, you might go through a phone book and choose every 20th name in the phone book. So you have a system in place where you're going to choose every nth whatever you're looking at in terms of your sample. Now, a convenience sample, based on the name, is one that you're going to do out of convenience. And so it's whatever is convenient to the researcher. And so, maybe in this case, if we're looking at the following population of people, maybe if they're divided into 4 rows, maybe we're only going to sample the first 5 in each row. So it's whatever is convenient to the researcher. Now, there are 2 types of samples based on dividing your population up into groups. If you divide them into what are known as clusters, the clusters are going to be similar to the entire population. And then what happens is the researcher goes in and chooses certain clusters, and then they interview or they take data from everybody in that particular cluster. On the other hand, if you divide people up based on what are known as subgroups, or they call them strata, hence the name stratified sample, then that means you're dividing them up based on some characteristic. So maybe you're dividing them up based on their age. Maybe you're dividing them up based on whether they're male or female, or in this case, you're dividing them up based on, whether they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior in school. So when you divide them up like this, then notice the researcher goes in and they do a random sample from each group. So in the cluster sample, they're divided into groups that are similar to your population, and everybody in a chosen cluster gets surveyed. Whereas in a stratified sample, they're divided up into groups based on age or gender or other characteristics, and they randomly sample so many out of each group.